So, welcome everybody to our first Evergreen Foundations expert led group call. We're going to do this every second Thursday of the month, and we're going to open the doors to Evergreen Evolution to come join our premium community, Evergreen Foundations, with an expert. A lot of you might know them as they're going to be people who are inside of our communities sharing value, and we will let them show their value to all of us. Tonight, we have the amazing, one of my favorite members in this community, Brenda Dubiel, who is going to be doing a presentation on healing our inner child, something I just came into in the last year and really think is an important thing that we do. So I am, without further ado, Dave, you got anything to say? Any welcomes?
No, not at
Mhm.
all. It's great to see everybody tonight. Jess, it's wonderful that you could join us. Um, Heather, I know you're part of our Canadian crew, and glad to see you here on a call tonight. We haven't had you be here before, so wonderful. Oh, actually, you did join one other call with us, so
Yes.
great to see you. Yeah. No, and Brenda, I'm looking forward to it because I know that personally, so I'll share a little bit. I keep probably a square photo, actually, now that I think about it, a 3 by 3 or a 4 by 4, something that was developed at a Rite Aid. I don't even know if anybody knows what that is, but
I
imagine you
do.
dropped off a 35 millimeter canister to Rite Aid and you waited a while. I have this tiny little square photo I keep on my desk, and it's the 6-year-old version
Nice.
of me. And the
Oh,
significance of that is when I was 6, my parents got divorced. And when I think about healing myself, when I think about talking to clients, I'm pretty sure you're going to touch on the fact that having that photo on my desk is exactly the person I need to talk to. So, with
mhm.
that being said, I definitely look forward to what you're going to share tonight. So, the floor is yours.
Yay. Oh, the
Well,
floor
thank
is yours,
you.
Brenda.
Thank you, David and Brandon, for having me here. Um, my name is Brenda. I'm a conscious coach. And one of the things I'm so passionate about is the inner child healing. And that is the thing that catapulted me on my healing journey. So thank you all for being here because, excuse me, this topic is not an easy topic. And this is the topic that most people avoid at all costs. And it's also a topic that is not taken seriously. People tend to think there's these other healing modalities out there that are going to cure them. But this is the main one. This is the root of most of our problems. So, congratulations to all of you for being here. This is a major win for all of you. And so it is monumental, and I have to say I am nervous. This is only my second time in my coaching career doing a group coaching. One-on-one is one thing, but with a group, I get a little nervous. So because I am nervous, I do have some notes here, and one of my ego defense mechanisms was perfectionism. So I know I'm not perfect, so I have my notes here to prevent me from trailing off. And with that, let's start with the signs that your inner child needs attention. So, all of us are on our healing journey here, right? So, then you notice you have your old patterns and your limiting beliefs are coming back up. You are regressing. Now, regression is excuse me, it's a defense structure, right? So here you are doing the work, but the good news is that you have this intellectual awareness that you are regressing. And that's key. Awareness is key in everything. And it's like a smoker. My husband smokes. I don't want him to smoke. I want him to quit. He knows it's bad for him, but he still keeps doing it, right? And it's like that. And it's like that breakup, right? You break up with somebody, and then you know the relationship was bad, but you have this longing to go back. And you don't know why. Why do I have this longing? Why do I want to be with that jerk, right? So then another sign would be is if you are viewing your healing in a form of a checklist. So the one and done. I've had clients like this where they're like, I did my inner child healing and I went into my shadow for a minute, and that is a sign to me that you are not diving deep enough. And that's why these limiting beliefs and your patterns keep coming back up. So, with that one and done, you're constantly searching for a new healing modality, right? You keep thinking, there's got to be something else out there for me. Like, my limiting beliefs are coming back up. I'm talking crap to myself. So I'm missing something. There's got to be something else out there. And you're looking for that extra modality to put on your checklist to check off. And that is perpetual. You will be constantly doing that. So that's a sign that your inner child needs attention. And also, if you notice that your affirmations and your mindset work is not sticking and there's no change being created there. So essentially, this is all your inner child trying to get its needs met. So the way they go about it is not healthy. So if you were to ask your inner child, why are you behaving like this? And you know what they would say to you is that this is the only way I know how to. This is the only way I learned how to feel safe. And the way they learned to feel safe was in a negative environment. So with that, now let's dive deep, all of us together. We're going to go into the early development and trauma. So I'm gonna take a breath here. I am nervous. And so we are all born as pure divine energy, right? We all come into this world as these beautiful, that child essence. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, right? We all come in the same way, joyful and connected, and we're not affected by other people's crap, right? We haven't been conditioned yet. Other people's belief systems haven't been put on us yet. And then trauma happens. And unfortunately, trauma can happen while you're in the womb too. So here you are, you're this beautiful God essence, source energy, and your trauma happens. So we have two kinds of trauma that go on, and I had both. You have your chronic, which is your covert, and that is ongoing trauma, right? And it's hidden. Things like abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, neglect. Maybe you were shamed all the time as a child. You were witness to domestic violence or bullied. So that's covert chronic trauma. And then we have the acute or overt. And that's like sudden, like bang, one and done. It could be a death in the family, a death of a friend, a car accident, any type of accident, an assault, a rape. Maybe you witnessed something horrific. So I'm going to recap here. So here we are born divine energy, and then our trauma happens. So what happens to that kid? What happens to us is there's this thing called an inner child divide. And I feel like it should be called the inner child hide because I feel like that expression is confusing. We literally go into hiding, right? So here you are, that beautiful source energy child, right? And then your trauma happens. And what happens is you form this protective covering over yourself, and it's like a coat of armor wrapped around you. So we hide under this ego defense structure. So the child, you can't see that your caregivers are unfit. You can't see that they're flawed. We're not capable of that at that age, at a young age. And we're also not capable of leaving. So what do we have to do? We have to adapt to survive. And the things that come up are your limiting beliefs like I'm not good enough or I can't be loved because you're looking around at your environment seeing these things going wrong, and because you don't have the capability to blame your parents, you blame yourself, and that's why you become a perfectionist. That's why you think you can't be loved, you're not good enough, I'm not worthy. And that is the result of you create this ego defense structure with your psychological armor around you. And you have to think about it. I tell my clients, think about it as a relentless bodyguard. You have unconsciously hired this bodyguard to watch out for you and to guard you and to protect you, defend you over anything that could cause harm. So, and that is our false self. It's like a mask that we put out into the world. So that's your new mask now. Nobody's going to see the real you underneath. So, that's how we stay safe, because it's easier to be this way than to be vulnerable, because we remember being vulnerable. When we were vulnerable, we were hurt, so we learned that we will never be vulnerable again. Now I'm going to take a sip of water. I hope I hope
While
it's
you
been
take a sip of
resonating.
water, while you take a sip of water, I want to ask a question about, because I have children and they are 15 and 18. Is there an age where we leave this child label, or are we still dealing with a childlike aspect of our lives when we are at that age at 15 and 18. You know,
Oh,
when you
definitely.
okay, I
Yeah.
wanted to delineate
I
that
mean,
because like I think about the timeline of, Brandon talks about theta state a lot. And
mhm.
what you're talking about, like for me, happened in theta state. So like I just wanted to understand
What
the
happened in theta state?
my child, my trauma, like the things that
Your trauma. Okay.
that young boy that I have that picture, right? That was
You were
6 years that
traumatized
was
while
six
you were
years
in your
old.
theta. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right. So I just wanted to ask that question. Like, is it all, until we're, 20 or 18, or is there no real
It
true
literally, like,
cutoff?
look at it like this, you are stunted on your timeline wherever your trauma happens. And I'm addressing childhood trauma because that's when it's happened to most of us. But you could take somebody who has had a perfectly nurturing and loving life that has unfolded naturally and beautifully, but then they have a trauma that happens, say, when they're 25 or 30. So from there on, that's when they've created their armor. They're not going to be the same anymore. Does that make sense? Did that help?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, 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 absolutely. No. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so another thing I say with my clients is to look at your ego defense structure almost like the Terminator, right? The Terminator, single minded and virtually unstoppable. You have hired this Terminator to take care of you because that wound is so severe. You don't ever want to feel that again, right? So, and it operates on two core survival questions. The first one is, who do I have to be to feel safe? And the second one is, what do I have to do to feel safe? Now, everybody's definition of safe is different too. So we can only think of you have to get to know what is my definition of safe, right? Now, let's see. Let's talk about what do I have to do to feel safe. So we think it's our fault as children and we turn it on ourselves, right? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not perfect. And I have to earn that love. So those are the limiting beliefs. Now, we think I'm sorry. I love my typos. So, our limiting beliefs, what do? They keep us from going into the unknown, right? The magic zone where all the excitement happens, right? So, things like regression, these are the things that Freud discovered. He discovered like 10 key ego defense behaviors that can come out. And one of them is regression, like what I mentioned earlier. When you see you're doing the work, but you're regressing. So, you're reverting back to your old behaviors. And then you have projection, denial, repression. Repression is interesting. If you unconsciously withhold information from your conscious, and that happened to me, and I had a memory come flooding back to me shortly after my son was born, and it was devastating. So your body has a funny way of protecting itself. So there's displacement too. So these are the beliefs that keep you from moving forward. And it's a false sense of safety, is what it is. So it's a prison, essentially. And then the question of who do I have to be to feel safe? These are the roles that the children will take on. They look around, they're like, well, it's not good enough for me to be myself. So who do I have to be? So these are the ones that fascinate me. So people pleasers, right? I was a people pleaser, and that's to avoid conflict. I saw in my childhood that if I went to each person and made sure all their needs are met, I would be safe. And my brother, on the other hand, turned into a narcissist. And we grew up under the same roof. So it's interesting how the ego defense structures will come out. And then we have the entertainer. I'm sure people may have friends like this. They're always joking around in front of everyone, putting on a show for everyone. They don't take anything seriously and they use humor to be accepted. But these ego defense structures, behaviors, they can come in handy, like the humor one. You could be in a volatile situation and you can use your humor to diffuse it, and that is to keep you safe, right? But it's a good thing. But our ego defense behaviors, our structure is just out of control. So then we have the bully. I had a bully in high school, and I never even talked to her. She just hated me and she made my life miserable. And I never could figure out why. But now, as an adult and going through my training and healing, I'm like, wow, she was abused. You see that now. And they decide, like, you know what? No one's ever going to abuse me again. I'm going to abuse everybody before they even get a chance to. They just assume everyone's going to bully them. And then you have like the quiet one. They feel like if they become invisible, they are protected. There's so many of them, and we can have more than one, and we usually do. Um, those are so interesting to me. But the path to healing, right? So releasing the protector. I see you, Rebecca. That is you. I get the energy off of you that you are quiet. I'm an empath and I can feel things off of people. So awareness is the key to change. A lot, you see people going through life, they're just doing this over and over again. It's perpetual. It's like a perpetual puppet show in hell. You are being controlled by your ego. And until you get this awareness, you're not going to be able to heal. So once you have your awareness, honesty with yourself, recognizing your ego defenses. And this is so difficult for people. They don't want to admit that they're not perfect. They don't want to admit that they've said and done certain things. I can see that, Brandon, you being the humor guy. You do laugh a lot. So we don't want to admit we're not perfect, right? So what do we have to do? We have to reframe this by telling yourself, look, you were only in survival mode. This had to be done. You have to forgive yourself for these things and know that your body was looking out for you, and thank your ego defense system for taking care of you because they got you this far in life. And it's okay because your behaviors, what you think, feel, and act in your past, that is not you. None of that is you. Like what I showed you before, this is you right here, that beautiful divine energy, but you just have this armor on you, right? And you're not showing your real self to the world. So let's get into the inner child, actually, what we can do. So why the inner child? The inner child, I can't even stress this enough to people. Like, people avoid the inner child all the time. My clients will avoid it because, like I said earlier, they think there's something else out there that is going to help them. They can't even fathom that it's that easy to heal yourself. Inner child will literally rocket launch you, catapult you, slingshot you, whatever you want to call it, into on your path. So you go back on your timeline to soothe that inner child. You want them to be seen and heard. Their needs weren't met, and that you are literally schlepping around this kicking and screaming inner child with you every day. Let me take a sip of water here. That inner child that you are schlepping around, its needs were unmet. And that is the child that is speaking for you, speaking through you, reacting. That is your inner child, right? Trying to bubble up to the surface. So we need to go to them with love and compassion. And it is a very delicate process, right? So what do? You go into meditation. Now you can go online to YouTube. They have some beautiful inner child meditations. I'm in the process of recording one right now. I've written a few, but technical things are keeping me back. However, inner child, we have more than one inner child. We have what I call our inner children. Your timeline of your childhood, you weren't, it's just not you have this one hurt kid on this one day, right? You have different versions of yourself throughout your timeline that have been hurt and with the different traumas you may have experienced. So you need to go back in and you need to soothe that inner child, your inner children. So healing happens when we go back and we meet those parts. And there's a saying that healing happens in the presence of an empathetic witness. And it's so true. Like, how many times have you just sat with a friend and just spilled your guts and you feel so much better afterwards, right? You feel seen, you feel heard, and you're soothed. And that's what your inner child is screaming for. Like, um, but I do want to give a little bit of a warning when you do start to go into meditation, and I never got any kind of warning, is that you don't know what state you are going to find your inner child at. My inner child was completely pissed off at me, like scared me so much. I'm like in meditation, all relaxed, right? Okay, here comes my inner child. She ran up to me, put her face in my face. Her mouth was wide open, her eyebrows were down, and she was screaming in my face. Uh, so my intuition guided me and told me just to yell out to her, I will be back. I'm here for you now. Because I have been abandoning her for other people to people please. And I have an abandonment wound. My mother left me many times up until she left for good. So I had this hardcore abandonment wound and I was abandoning myself to people please. And so it's just perpetual, right? So you go in and you meet your inner child, and you can do it from a situation that you can think of where you were hurt, or you can go into the various areas on your timeline, right? So you want to become both the nurturer and the one who is being nurtured. It's an interesting thing because heard some meditations and I've been guided through some that didn't sit with me because it seems so cold and clinical, where they're like, okay, there's your inner child, go sit with them. What do they need? You need to go in and feel this shit. You need to feel it and heal it. You have to simultaneously get in touch with your inner child, and you know what they need. It's not like this is separate, like you're waiting for them to tell you what's wrong. You know what's wrong and you know what they need, so you have to give that to them and feel that, and then you start to feel this connection with them. So it is feeling and healing here, and this is definitely not a checkbox thing, like one and done. You're going to have to go back to many versions of yourself, and this is the one modality that people skip, and this is the reason why those limiting beliefs, that negative banter, everything holding you back, this is why. It's that little kid you're schlepping around who is trying to heal the situation, but in a bad way, because that's the only way they know how to feel safe, right? So I'm going to give you an example of, after like months of inner child work, right? I was in a meditation just for like, I was feeling some self doubt, and it wasn't even an inner child meditation. And all of a sudden, I see a year old version of myself, and she comes running up to me, and she's so happy, and she hugged my leg, and I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. Like, and then out of my peripheral on my right side, three more versions of myself came over. My 14-year-old, I want to say 12 and 9-year-old, somewhere in that tween area. And they all jumped on me and they all showed me love. I mean, this was just out of nowhere. And to me, I took that as a sign from the universe that I was in the right direction. I was healing my inner child. So, out of the inner child healing, you can expect to see your confidence grow. You can see your patterns begin to shift, a decrease in your limiting beliefs and your negative self talk. And you will start to see, like, it's like a little sprout, like, wow, I really like myself now. And your boundaries, you'll be able to set boundaries, no problem, and respect your own boundaries. And that's the integration of the process. So that's what the confidence is, self acceptance, and you have this peace. And it's literally like inner child healing is what can heal you and let you go on with your life on your path and do all those things you want to do. Or you can schlep around that little kid who's going to be reacting in situations and telling bad things to you, like you suck, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this, you're that, you'll never do anything with your life. That's your inner child. So, yeah. And also you'll notice, and another reason I'm sure a lot of people don't want to address their inner child is because they know they're going to lose relationships in their life. There's certain people in their life that you will shed them because you are raising your vibration. You are not that person anymore, and you're not going to tolerate the poor behavior anymore. And good for you if you get that far. I got that far, and it was difficult, but it felt so good once I shed those people. I literally felt like it's the feeling when you're going through the airport and you're lugging your luggage and then you put it down and sit down. It's like whoosh. I feel amazing right now, and that's what it was like. But like I said earlier in this talk, like not a lot of people are willing to go into their inner child because the results scare them too much. You know, those limiting beliefs have too strong of a hold on them, and it's just not their time, you know? They're not ready yet, and that's okay if you're not. But if you're taking baby steps, doing some meditations and things like that, it can totally help. So then journaling also helps. You can journal, you can journal from the perspective of your hurt inner child, like how you felt, what needs weren't being met, just everything, just spill your guts, right? And you can also write a letter of love to your inner child, telling them, I feel I'm coming to say, not coming to save you, but I'm coming to be with you. I will never abandon you again. Whatever comes through, whatever you feel is right. And like David said about the picture. So get a picture of yourself, a younger version of yourself, and put it somewhere where you can see it. So you can be like, hey, like say if I have one of me right here, this is my picture of me, like, Brenda, what's up? How you doing? I love you. I'm here for you, things like that. And I know this kind of behavior like isn't socially acceptable to some people. They might not believe in the inner child, but you got to go with your heart and your gut. And this is going to catapult you. I promise you, you do the work, doors will begin to open for you. And I also want to address like the males. Men, I notice my male clients have the most difficult time going into their inner child because it's not manly, right? This is something that happens. It's there though. It happens. I have to say it happens. But this is something between you and your inner child. This is all about your healing, not about what other people think. And manly is a belief system. So with that, I think I have covered most everything I wanted to say, and I hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help.
I mean, so I'll give you the round of applause, okay?
Thank you.
And I'm the listen, I'm the only child. I don't know if I'm the only one on this call, but it's my world and you just breathe my air. So I'm gonna try not to absorb the next 28 minutes of this conversation. But you hit on so many things. Okay, I'll speak for myself. I'm 48 years old. My parents got divorced when I was 6. I lived with my dad and my stepmother till I was 14. I have lived with my mother. Like, my mother has been the parent in my life, my whole life, really. I cut my dad off 12 years ago because I got to a point where I realized that that inner child, that was that most of the scars are as a result of the fact that my father never healed himself. And I made a commitment at that moment that I was never going to let the generation I created suffer from the generation I came from.
I love
So,
that.
and the other thing that came up, and this came up about maybe 2 years ago, was I realized that an immediate member of my family, my stepfather, was more of a dad to me than I ever could have asked him to be. But he was the source of probably 90% of my shyness as a child, because he was the first bully I ever had in my life. His way of showing love was that old world, old boomer generation, tough,
Wow.
and I love him to death. He treated my mother like gold, but he treated me like shit. And I realized about 2 years ago that he was my first bully in life. That was really powerful. Um, so I don't know. You bring a lot of things to the surface. So thank you for that. The last thing I'm going to
Yes.
say, and then I'll give it up. There is a book, and the name of the author, I had to look him up to make sure I got the author's name right. um, his name is Stephen Foster, Mike Foster, and the name of the book is The Seven Primal Questions. And I went through that last year. And Brenda, if you've never read it, I would tell you to buy it tonight.
I'll
The
check it
seven,
out.
yeah, the seven questions are: Am I safe? Am I
Oh,
secure? Am I loved? Am I wanted? Am I successful? Am I good enough? And do I have a purpose? And going through that book was like listening to you talk tonight, because when you break down all of those questions, we all have one primary, and then we have one up and one down. And it was just fascinating to hear you speak tonight, because after reading the book, you
yeah.
encapsulated a lot of that.
I
So
will
good
check
job.
out that. I
Yeah.
would definitely check out that book. And something that you said, I just had like a little download that I wanted to share is in our healing journey, we tend to be angry at our parents, and it's normal, right? But some people cannot find forgiveness at all. And one way that I was able to find forgiveness is if you can just know that they were doing the best they could with what they had, they are doing what they were taught, and that's all they know. We are all doing the best we can at the level we are at. I used to be a heroin addict. I was the best heroin addict in the world. I was the best people pleaser in the world. Nobody around me was dissatisfied. So we are doing the best we can at the level we are at. And also, another thing you can do is look at them as small hurt children. Look at
Oh yeah.
their inner child and see them hurt and what they have may have gone through. Because people say, "Oh, you should have known." How should I have known? This is my first time I remember being on this planet. How should I have
Mm.
known this? So those are two things that have helped me with forgiveness with a lot of people with my trauma. So I would like to say that it would help you guys too.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Brenda. And please, there are some great comments in the chat by all
Oh
means.
gosh,
So
let me see.
like here, so Jess asked a question. Um, where did it go? How do you get to
Just
where you
okay.
see them in the guided in a guided meditation? How do you get to where you see your inner child? So I think you were talking about how you saw your inner child in a meditation. I think
Mhm.
what she's asking, and Jess, you could take yourself off of mute. You I guess what she's asking is how do
Can
you
you
get into
hear
that
me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, so I'm listening, I'm absorbing. This is hitting a lot of stuff for me to reflect on. I don't feel like I've done a lot of work with this, but in my own way, I feel like I have, and I'm very curious to explore different ways of inner child work. And so I don't feel like I don't relate as much with visualizing the inner child so much. I'm very verbal. So I just wasn't sure, like I've journaled a lot, I've spoken and talked a lot. I was just curious if there was any guided sort of meditation or anything you recommend for getting to that place where you guys are saying that you see your inner
Have
child. I
you
just feel like
have you done inner child meditations and you don't see your inner child? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that my understanding of meditation is that there's lots of different ways to do it. And so I, I feel like
Okay.
I have kind of my one successful way that I kind of return to, which is very verbal and conversational, where I do breath work, I'll get grounded, and I don't hear voices necessarily, but I just sort of I know that I can tell the difference between different energies is the way I would put it. But
Right.
I just don't feel like there's really been much visual. So maybe I haven't done
Do,
the meditation that you're talking about.
I
Does
feel
that make
like
sense?
yes, it makes total sense. Everybody's experience in meditation is different. For me, I don't always have visuals, and it's not like I can see it clearly. It's almost like a picture that is put into my mind, but I have the clear audience also, and I can hear things like words will be spoken, and every person is unique. But I feel like for you, like you would have to find a meditation that brings you deep, like those deep meditations. You can find them on YouTube. Pura Rasa, she is really good, but I'm not sure if she has any inner child meditations. She may, she's awesome. But you need to find a deep meditation that is going to do the whole body relaxation and get you so calm you're about to fall asleep, where you're in that theta state pretty much. And then they will guide you to your inner child. That's what I recommend for people at first, is to get a guided meditation, and then when you get the feeling for it, then you can guide yourself. You can just go in, bring yourself to that deep meditative state. And it's almost like writing your own meditation. Maybe you want them to meet you somewhere. You don't have to necessarily go to where they were. you could be on a beautiful beach and you could invite them to come with you and see what happens, because every experience is going to be different. I've had meditations where I didn't see anything, I just heard things. And then other times I have massive visuals. So I don't know. I get the feeling maybe you haven't gone very deep. Do you feel like you have?
I was about to say that maybe because I do not have the best follow through. And so I'll have these like, for lack of better words, I have a profound download pretty early on and before I even start. So maybe it's just my mind getting distracted and I think it's like, it's where I need to be. I don't know. I don't know that I can relate with super, super deep. So that might be my issue. Just getting into a
Well,
really
you
deep
know what,
meditative
too?
state.
It might not an issue. I would say it's a block. You're blocking yourself here. We tend to do that, and it's all unconscious, and we think, oh, what's wrong with me? I can't meditate. It's essentially we're blocking ourselves. So if you feel like you are ready for this, it sounds like maybe you're kind of apprehensive about it, and that's where the block is coming from. But if you're really feeling it, before you go into meditation, have some affirmations with yourself and feel them. Be like, I am ready to meet my inner child. I do not have any blocks. And do a block clearing. You can just clear your blocks yourself and just out loud say, I am clearing all blocks that are preventing me from meeting my inner child. I am clearing all blocks that are in the way of my meditation, of bringing me deep, like whatever resonates with you. I mean, there's even quick meditations like that you can find online
Yeah,
to
I
clear
don't
your
think I've done like
blocks.
anything like that. Like what you're saying is making total sense because I mean, I even labeled it an issue, I noticed. But I mean, um, even today I didn't have my kids today, which is kind of rare. And so I was like, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna do like a 2 hour thing, and I just didn't. I found all sorts of reasons to start or like do a 10-minute thing and then I like think that I accomplished something because of some profound thought I had, but it sounds like maybe I'm just not even ready. If that's, have you found that to be the case too,
No,
that
I
people just
honestly,
aren't ready?
the feeling I get off of you is that's your inner child. This is a perfect example of your inner child preventing you from healing. Your inner child is preventing you from going to your inner child, which is, I love it. I just love the creativity of this ego defense structure. It's insane. I mean, do
Jess,
you feel ready? Do you feel like you want to go meet your inner child is the question.
The feeling I could best describe it as would be if you were a kid or you were younger and you were looking at like a pool, a swimming pool, and everyone's like, "Go jump off the diving board," and I'm like, "No, like I am not jumping out, like no." But also I want to because everyone's swimming, and you're like, want to join in, you
Okay,
know?
there it is.
Does that
You
make
you want
sense?
to. So this is a matter of you just taking that leap. Like you're aware that you were avoiding doing what you said you were going to do. So you have the awareness, which is key. So now it's taking action. There's no other healing modality out there that's going to make you take action. You have to step into the unknown. Go meet that inner child because she's waiting for you. Your inner children are waiting, and meditation is the way to get there. So you got this, girl. This is all up to you now. You
Now
you
I feel
said you
even
want to
more like
jump in the
having.
pool.
I can totally relate to this, Jess. And me and you are kind of little brain spirit animals at times. Everything you said I resonated with about meditation. I'm the same way. I had to do what Brenda was talking about. So my inner child, after my father's suicide, was fear of abandonment ruled my life. And I was the humor guy that laughed about it, like I said earlier. And I tried to like please everybody. I was like a mutt of everything Brenda said. I was the people pleaser. I was the humor guy. At times I was the bully. I like had it all because I was so defending this inner child. It pushed me into being a professional cage fighter. I locked myself in a cage and kicked people's ass for 7 years of my life and took kickings because I was suppressing my inner child. And then I got into everything that I did in my life. Drugs. I was a great drug addict too. I was really good at that for a period of my time. All of that was to suppress my inner child. It was super recent, Jess, that I seen a post, I seen something, and it was in High Vibe Tribe actually, and it made me go, oh, I think I'm suppressing my inner child.
I'm sorry, you need to interrupt you. My bad.
You're good.
So, like, if there was a post, are you able to tag in that, or do you, maybe I'll just look up something on YouTube. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Just, yeah, just keep going.
So what I did was what Brenda said to do is basically I had to accept it because like a light bulb went off and I was like, ooh, I think I got to deal with my inner child. So I kind of sat by myself and was like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to I'm ready to listen to you. And I was talking to my inner child. So then I journaled for like a week and a half or 2 weeks as my inner child. I just wrote stories, how he felt when he found out about his dad, how he felt about everything. I just wrote stories. And that's when I started meditation. And that's when it became easier. That's when I could speak to him. That's when I could accept things. That's when I could take how he felt and really accept it into actions that I do today and tell him that it's okay. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to feel that. I got you. Like together, we're going to do this. I got your back. We don't have to do this anymore. And that's how I stopped doing a few actions in my day to day that were sometimes little things, sometimes reactions, sometimes the way I would think about something. And it just kind of like started to finally go away. So I actually do this inner child meditation myself at least once a week.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
I would also follow up what Jess is talking about with the fact that don't judge yourself about your level of meditation. Like it's such a practice that is unique to everyone that the more you do it, the more it will become your own. So don't judge your level of I didn't do enough or I didn't get to where you were. Get to where you can get and just observe. Right? Just
Right. Every
get to a
person's different.
yeah, right.
I
Like
remember
and
the
that was
theme
my
of the
That's
week.
difficult for me to do. I feel like the biggest trap I have by a long shot is the not doing it right feeling. So it's like I just feel like I'm mumbling along and like in general, just wherever I am, this meditation, just sort of being like, am I doing this right? Did I do this right? I don't know. I have no idea. And so this not judging myself thing I feel like is difficult to get past. On mute. I
So
gotta go on mute.
remember, Jess, meet yourself where you are.
yeah.
Meet yourself where you are with it. I had to do this with meditation too. And I was doing it where I was like sitting for 20 minutes, half hour, and I'm like, oh, I did it. But I wasn't going, I wasn't going where I needed to go. Actually, I'm gonna shout her out, Lindsay Ranson, a holistic wellness coach who I meet with and have for a while now. She's in Evergreen Evolution. She changed my life on meditation. And a couple other people I've bumped into, JJ Rochelle, Brenda Dubiel, a couple other people that I've talked to from our group. But Lindsay, working with her one-on-one, she's had me visualize and be present and force myself for like a minute, and then
Right.
2 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and then really get to that place and accepting feelings. And it's really changed how I view meditation myself. So take it easy on yourself and meet yourself where you are. Even if you go a minute, you did something.
Even having no expectations, go into your meditation without expectations. Be like, I'm going in this place and who knows what's going to happen. Just be psyched for it, right? And just
Yeah.
like the universe, you're open to what the universe has for you. It's the same idea, just letting it all go. Just go there, see what happens, see what you like, and go on YouTube. There's some amazing meditation artists out there, and find a voice that resonates with you. The voice is very important because you have to listen to them for 20 minutes to 30 minutes. So you want to make sure that resonates, not just because it's an inner child meditation. See what feels right for you.
All of this is making sense, and I appreciate it. I'm sorry to have. I hope I didn't interrupt any of this.
No, no, there's no interruption. And Jess, the without going, deep into your own personal story, your inner child is preventing you from doing something because of the judgment that you were taught in the organizations that we were part of when we were children.
Mm.
And without going into your own personal life, because I know some things, there is something that you are, I don't want to do that, or I'm not doing that because I was taught that that isn't really the way, if that makes sense.
It's halfway makes sense. I feel like it will make more sense probably after it does.
Yeah, and I think, and I'll send you a DM, and I'll sort of get a little more personal in why I said that, but there's something that you and I share in common that we've talked about, that I think it prevented me from doing what I did a few years ago with meditation, and it was the judgment that was passed on me from those childhood things that we did and that we were exposed to.
And you're going to be facing some strong emotions, like your inner child's like, nope, I don't want to feel this again. We're not going here. You're not going to talk to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very. I feel like I
Um,
have so much to reflect on from this, so I don't want to take it.
we all have lots of work to do. You're
Yes,
not alone.
every
You're not
single one of
alone,
us.
Jess. Not at all. So, not to interrupt, but Becca posted something in the chat, Brenda. So I just want to bring that to your attention. She said something
Yes.
about meditation. So I just want to make sure that if she asked something, I didn't look. If she asked something or made a comment that you need to address, by all means.
I did a couple of meditations, but it was hard doing them because a lot of emotion comes up. I saw myself when I was bullied in my teenage years. Yes, that's what meditation is. Your dreams are like that too. Your dreams are a message system. So if you're having similar dreams, these are things that are coming up that need to be addressed. That's why they're showing up. And it's hard to face those emotions and know that it's okay and be kind to yourself while you're in there. And it's okay to cry. I literally have bawled my face off in meditation. And afterwards, that cathartic release, I feel so good afterwards. That's my little inner child that was hurt. She was crushed. So she's getting that out. So that comes with the process of meditation too. Not only in the process of soothing your inner child, those emotions need to be released because we're carrying those emotions around with us and they hurt us. It's causing cortisol to pump through our bodies. And over time, that cortisol will make us sick. So we want to get all that stuff out of us and cry. Just see what comes up. Your emotion is coming up, but be okay with it. Just talk to yourself. Be like, Rebecca, you're doing great. This is part of the process. Talk to yourself like you are your best friend, or the way you would talk to somebody who's feeling like that. Talk to them like your inner child, like a little kid. You're doing great. You got this, and feel it. And it's okay to feel it. I know it hurts, but it's okay.
That was amazing. I know for me personally, this has brought up a lot. I think this has been a great call. Jess, never feel like you're interrupting. That's what this is for. I don't think Brenda just wants to talk to nothing for 45 minutes. This is to spark stuff. And the fact that you brought stuff up and now you're leaving this call and you're probably going to YouTube inner child stuff and you're going to be thinking about this. That's why we do these things. So Brenda, I can't thank you enough for
Thank
tonight.
you.
This has been everything I could have hoped for our
Yeah.
first group call, really. And I think all of us are going to leave here tonight with a lot on our minds and maybe a lot that we have to maybe meditate for a little bit and think about.
Thank you. I just want to say to Jess, Jess, you matter. Don't apologize. That's your inner child apologizing. I just want to let you know that. I like to make humor about it. I'm like, oh, there's my inner child being a brat. That was your inner child apologizing for making her needs known. So just some awareness there for you, and you matter. So go get them. You got
Thank
this.
you
Yeah.
so much, Brenda. Really, thank you.
Yeah, and Brenda, like, I'll just resonate with what Brandon said. Like, there's that old saying in psychology that if you get it, you got it, and the triggers are meant to heal us. Your triggers tonight were like needles in my side, right? Like, so
Oh my
really,
gosh.
really great call. the meditation and the journaling is going to be seriously on point. Like,
Yes.
it was really, really awesome. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having me. I'm so passionate because I see people out there struggling, and I'm like, good Lord, check in with your inner child and you'll see massive changes, you know? It's just the one thing everybody avoids. So thank you for letting me share that with everybody. And it was so, you guys are all so kind and listening to me. Thank you. I appreciate all of you.
And this
Yeah,
call
awesome.
will be in the Evergreen Foundation's vault. And Brenda emailed me the attached PDF. I will link that in the vault to this call. So if you want the worksheet that she created, probably tomorrow I'll have that call up. Go in there and grab that worksheet, and let's all heal our inner child a little bit. Thanks, Brenda, for pushing us there. This has
Yeah.
been amazing.
It's a fun quiz to see where your inner
Awesome.
child is at.
Nice.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right,
thank
guys.
you very
Thank you.
much.
All right. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.